what I like to do with my lovely 5D mystics is integrate these beautiful tarot oracle cards as we talk about messages. Okay, so the divine feminines of the 5D collective, they love to be in the in between because they're in the here and now. So they have a prefrontal cortex. That's because they have a window welcome to their inner child. And they have a chit chatter. That's their friend, the inner growth mindset. Okay, so when you meet a divine feminine, you will know who she is. If she is a divine feminine with Christ consciousness, she has integration of the brain capacity. So she's always dreaming her world into being because she knows how to work with what comes up when the unknown, uncertainty, and unwanted happens, okay? And she knows how to sing her song. So when you have a whole inner child like me, I got lucky. Some people, they get lucky because they reparent. So they take personal development, self help, and good therapy seriously. When you meet the divine feminines who are not, in my book, divine feminines, because they're spiritual bypassers, you'll notice because they don't live with meaning and connection beyond the solo self. They're on Elsa's journey and they project their low self esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive ways. And in fact, they don't know healthy boundaries at all because they cancel people. They call them energy vampires. They create stories like the twin flame story stuff. Okay, so that is where the difference. Making your dreams a reality is something that the 5D mystic divine feminine always knows because we're always shining the heart and life. It's a mystery in a beautiful way. And that's where we're going to begin. So, this one is for my 5D Mystic Collective, and that's anyone who has clairs, and therefore you have a relationship with the sphere of energy. Then we'll have a self empowered woman episode after. Okay, so when your inner child is there, love is always around. You know that there's no saga or drama with anyone. You know this and that are true because you have the awareness that everything happens so that you can be loyal to yourself and to the expansion of consciousness journey. That is because of having a gut, heart, and mind, brain relationship. Okay, so you know how to be playful. This is Krishna Lila with Shiva and Kali. This is you, and again, your prefrontal cortex. I'm attachment trauma informed. That's what's given me the ability to use words that actually can support you to know that you're a mammal, and that foundation to intimacy is here, first of all, and here. Okay, so the people who have non-bilateral integration are the ones who don't do emotional lifting and they don't do emotional awareness. So with their behavior, when they're biologically rude and they want control because it's a soft blanket, okay, so when they bring to you their maladaptive child behavior, it will be cold and rigid or exaggerated, chaotic, depending. The divine feminine will know how to love, accept, and respect, which is why we will not handle a person, anyone, with shame, blame, fault, nor revenge. Revenge is for somebody who has pent up rage, jealousy, envy, spite. They have attachment rejection wounds, attachment abandonment wounds, attachment injustice. They might even have betrayal wounds. And then if we have shame and humiliation, so they're just throwing their childhood, their past is leading the way. They're chit chatters making up stories. So spiritual bypassers, divine feminines do it. So do 3D collective spirituality bypassers, cognitive dissonance, anyone who's going to justify their exaggerated response, and they're projecting the outer critic, and then there's the inner critic. Okay, so that's where people are at. If they're not doing good personal development or therapy with them, I'm going to work on expanding my window of welcome to emotion. So it's either expand first that window of tolerance, then the window of tolerance, like a rubber band, you're the one who creates resiliency because it's all in the mindset. So those three pillars of the mind, thank you, Daniel Siegel: focus, attention, awareness, and then kind intention. The kind intention is because it's activating your body to say it's safe to be yourself. And those three things, which then have you do mindfulness, which is why mindfulness and meditation help, as well as yoga. Yoga helps because it's a ventral vagal portfolio of nervous system toning exercises. Thank you, Stephen Porges. Okay, so without any yoga, I have consistently been an integrated approaching brain because thank you, mother, thank you, twin, thank you, Jesus. I have a younger sister too. But the beginning of our journey, that first year of life, is what matters. And those first three, they're implicit. So I have a good memory, my first three, and then I continued with good memories. And that's why, for those of us who know that the life within us is this inner child, it's always fun. Okay, so we know that it is not enough to ask people about a positive experience, that it is about savoring that experience and getting them to stay with it. Bill O'Hanlon, LMFT. So, for better or for worse, right? For richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Divine Feminine has a nurturing capacity towards the entire human species, not just one person, and all life. So, nature, the ecosystem. We're an ecosystem. And we don't need to be taught how to be in this space of compassion. The ones of us who are the divine feminines of the 5D collective, because our inner child leads the way. She or he is not locked up. Divine masculine has a different journey. Once they get here, they will still have their divine feminine because it's your body. Okay, so you know how to turn wisdom, you know how to turn knowledge, into wisdom, because you're going to dare to follow your dreams and follow your heart and know that the opportunity to consistently be yourself is now and that you don't need to surrender. So, another Sadhguru quote, one who is constantly making U turns obviously does not want to go anywhere. Those who have self doubt, good therapy, good personal development, depends on their journey, their choice. They will know what they need. They won't be making U turns for that long. Okay, so the knowing of one's worth and then believing in oneself, again, divine feminine knows. And so we don't have saga or drama with our twin flames. We know that life is a mystery and our oversoul is a gift. So we shine who we are and we let others shine. And again, we make our dreams always a reality because we sing our own song. That's because we're able to consistently be adaptive in the in between for the here now prefrontal cortex. So when you're not overwhelmed by your nervous system. And that's why being generous of spirit is not some gift that needs a star. Nobody's a savior. Nobody is more special than anybody else. We all can claim our independence and power by knowing healthy self-worth, which equals self-esteem, which then equals healthy self and healthy boundaries. And that's a 5D relationship. So we talk about that after, again, empowered women, empowered men, empowered days. We know that emotions come up with their subjective experience, with their physiological response, and with a behavioral response. And unlike where Stephen Porges shares that those who are in biological rudeness, they will justify their behavior, the self-aware person with the emotional also accountability will say, you know what, my mood, my behavior, my closing off this heart, my chaotic nature is something that's creating suffering within me, and I'm also not building relationships. I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to go and check out. I'm not going to pathologize me. I'm not going to look for a group. I'm going to go look for a good professional that will tell me and share with me how I can get on board. So behavioral, thank you, Janina Fisher, not to be pathologized, but to be understood. Peter Levine, sensations, images, affects, meanings, behavior. These come from the trauma charges that come up. So again, we need to shut the left mode up, but you need to also notice to make a window of welcome. Okay. And on that note, I wanted to share a couple more messages before we go out. So the divine feminine, we love the mystery of life because we know that life will keep bringing us more love, not less. So we grow more loving. In my journey with my twin flames and my soulmates, I have moved into the solo polyamory community. I was already in polyamory, and that's because I'm a person who has compersion. And so if a partner of mine or partners have others, no competition. I don't have an insecure ego. Nope, it's a 3-year-old who says, yep, here I am. Take it or leave it. I'm not defective. I'm imperfect and flawed. So are you. Doesn't anybody know that we all have weaknesses? So when people don't notice that they want to think of their self as perfect. So sometimes somebody will say, oh, but you're only imperfect because you're comparing yourself to others. No, I can objectively in my heart know with healthy self-worth in my heart, you know it here. If somebody comes to me and says, you're a piece of shit, I will ask why, maybe. It depends. I'll say, do you want to tell me why I'm a piece of shit? And I will evaluate it on the spot. I will know if I'm talking to a teenager who's a grown human being who doesn't know what they're bringing to me is their attitude and their human suffering. And I won't say anything like Patsha because I'm not going to waste my breath because I got a maladaptive child who just justified what is their low self-esteem, indirect communication, everything. And I have learned as a teenager, I learned how people will say, no, no, it's not true. It's not my suffering. I'm bringing to you the truth. No, you're bringing to me what you want from me, and what you want from me seems a demand. And so, long story short, new challenging situations are possibilities, not problems. Thank you, Sadhguru. Divine Feminine, we are choice points. We always know this, and that's because I will love, accept, and respect you for who you are. This also means that I know how to share the floor. So when you bring to me, you behaved in a way that I'm going to condemn, I will hear you, and I will know where I have been flawed, and I will know where I have not been flawed. And I will know where there is hypocrisy, and I will also know where there's not hypocrisy. And I will also know that the way you're treating me is a very clear indication not only of how you were held, but how you are casting a stone. And you're judging a book by its cover, and that's where, as a divine feminine who has Christ consciousness, thank you, Jesus, forgiveness, and walking and talking and being a person who can see and believe without seeing, and all these great things, and the attachment trauma information just confirmed what I already knew when I was growing up. Why is it so hard for you to be yourself? What the hell are you doing with all this mask stuff? But the masks are not masks. It's called unkindness that comes from people's childhood trauma. So while flat earthers, they at least have a group. The ones who want to tell you yoga brings demons out of you, the 4D who's on spiritual bypassing journeys, and they don't take any of the human elements, the educational stuff that I just presented to you, and they want to use demons and devils and all that. Yeah. Nope. Patrick McNamara, neuroscientist. I mean, seriously. I know that they're still working on a lot of research, the academics, and that's why I'm the pseudoscience lady, and I'm woo, but I'm here for those who want to do personal development seriously, have good relationships, which are really fun, be secure attachment people. Oh, and for my 5D mystic divine feminines, because really, I thought that the 4D would get it together. I did not realize that they're all spiritual bypassers who are not going to claim their 0 1-year-old or their 3-year-old and make it a home in here. So what I was trying to say is, when somebody says nobody's imperfect, no, I can unconditionally love, and I do, myself and others with flaws and imperfections, because I know that I'm part of a human herd. And like Sid and Manny and Diego with that baby, I know that we're going to have different subjective experiences based on the emotions that arise from within us. But I know that the ones who are going to become functional adults are not going to project. So the human suffering love narrative, they're going to stick around, and that's not something that we need to do anything about, because they will always say, no, it's life that sucks, Maria. It's this that sucks, Maria. It's that. So anytime anyone just keeps on, it's like the wheels on the bus go round and round, round. I don't want to do personal development. Okay, so the divine feminines who are not in 5D, they're basically on Elsa's journey, and they want a star. They already have a star. The ones of us who are not having stars, it's because here's the deal about the oversoul. It's just, I can't even begin. We have an episode today for the audio version only. And yeah, I'm going to close out with this. So as a divine feminine, I'm going to admit that a lot of the times we have hunches. Divine masculines, they have hunches too. Don't get me wrong. Actually, it's fascinating because they have it differently. It's unfortunate they're not open to their hunches because they're afraid of claiming their own inner child. This is really sad, I have to say, because they don't end up bringing forth all that they can be. All the divine masculines that I've ever met, they have good hunches, but they ignore their hunches because they use this left mode to fucking rationalize everything. And they don't take leaps of faith. They literally choose fear again and again and again. It is the saddest thing that you'll ever see. So all people, by the way, who don't claim their 0 1-year-old and their 3-year-old, they're missing out on what is not only this 5D lovely consciousness, which is, again, integration of brain, and then claiming your humanity, which is why if you overflow with humanity, divinity has to descend. Thank you, Sadhguru, but it's your restorative embodiment. So it's your mammalian heritage. Okay, so when you have 5D divine feminine and we have our own divine masculine, remember, what you have is a healthy self-worth, woman or man or they. So there ain't no way that I'm going to hide my inner child. She's here with me as I'm having fun and being playful because, again, I'm not needing to reclaim power. I'm just enjoying building a snowman, snow woman, snow they. Those are all our relationships. So our oversoul is expanding always. We don't have energy vampires, dark auras. When we have the love dependent people, they get scared that you're going to leave them. You learn how to handle that. They're the only ones who get invasive in your space. And that's something that if you're divine feminine, you'll know how to be soft about it as well as firm, because the divine feminine, again, has their own divine masculine. The divine masculine can learn to become soft with their divine feminine, but they also have this very challenging moment. I've seen it again and again and again. They don't take that leap of faith. They don't make it into what is going to be this full relationship with Akash for them. And not any of the divine masculines that I've met are actually in any way, shape, or form related to our world of spirituality, my lovely divine feminines. But if they do become their own divine feminine, then they will be a person who can be playful and enjoy, because I've met online, though, the educators, those divine masculines who are also divine feminines. So they will say, yeah, you're woo woo, but they won't mean it in the way of it's not possible. They'll say it's not something I know because I'm a sciences person. So, of course, I'm more practical, but I won't deny the plane that you're telling me of. They have respect, they have play, they have joy, and this is the balances of both energies, by the way, which either or you will know which one you are. For divine feminine, my oversoul has always surprised me. And whenever there are things that I did think I knew that I didn't know that the divine masculines knew, this is the part of where a divine feminine knows that we have weaknesses. We're not egoic. That's the biggest difference I'm going to say, is that the divine masculine has a harder time with this ego thing. But it's because they don't deal well with uncertainties, unknowns, and unexpected, because that's the right mode, and that's that inner child. And that's really where, how do you deal with uncertainty, my lovely listeners, viewers? Dealing with the unknown. You got secondary consciousness. So do I. It's called human condition for Maria, and for the IHP content, you know what the existential psychologists call it? They call it a human dilemma. So when you have a good relationship with emotions, it ain't no dilemma. I got a brain. I'm thinking. I'm having fun. Okay. The consciousness sphere, it's again amazing relational consciousness. Guess what the academics call it? The hard problem of consciousness. So anytime you find a masculine, the divine masculines that are spiritual bypassers, they're the ones who are divine feminines, but they're not claiming their inner child. So Elsa journey, just remember Elsa journey. And then they're just codependent type, martyr, superior, blamers. The squirrel, Cusco, all of that. Okay, so you're going to be very easily finding Peter Pans and Wendy's out there. And you leave them alone. And if you want, you come have fun over here with the divine feminines of this and the divine masculine. So we build 5D relationships. We're going to talk a little bit about that after. But what I wanted to get to also is what I was saying before. Divine masculines that open up to their divine feminine, they're going to have fun with us. They're going to have fun with all of the astrology, all of the energies around. Right now, we got some more expansion happening, by the way, which is why I wanted to integrate. And lastly, yeah, divine feminines, we just know life is always going to get better. There's never a doubt in our mind. Oh, the ego part. We don't need to be right. If there's one thing the divine feminine doesn't ever actually get hooked, we don't get what is it called, hooked on, is the fact if we were wrong, because we know we're imperfect and flawed. That's when you accept your inner child with no shame. This is what I will conclude with. So I have no shame, which means that if you tell me, Maria, you're an evil bitch, an evil witch, and you mean it, I will not be happy, but I will accept that your subjective experience is that, because I got taught how to share the floor with all 8 billion people. I have a twin. I got taught how to share the floor with somebody who's my sibling, and I never once had envy, jealousy, or spite, because I got not only taught that, we're, blood, if you will, and supporting each other, but there's God, humble, don't want to be anybody else. So I got raised with God and Jesus, and it wasn't hard for a child, for me, to understand. I got a good childhood, though, okay? So that's the point. When you grow up and you have envy, jealousy, spite, you can understand where it comes from. When you grow up and you have shame, and this is where the divine masculines, whether they consider themselves masculines or feminines, as long as you have an ego, that doesn't accept that you can be flawed for somebody else and be okay with it, but also live beyond the solo self. What does it mean? It means you're not going to just go out and be rude to people. You're not going to silence people either. So the balance is never going to be a match. And in fact, it's not about the external, it's here. Somebody tells me that I'm a bitch. I will ask them why if they want to tell me. I will not do anything about it. I will probably say, okay, so do we want to stay friends or not? The reality is, it's a shitty word. It doesn't mean anything to me because what really is going to happen is I have a way of living. My lifestyle is different than yours. Like being polyamorous, being a mystic, being a person who is a Reiki master, being any of what is today's, stuff that doesn't get accepted by the 3D particularly. But, do I really want to be friends with closed-minded people? No, not really. And I have some friends who we tease. We tease because I know that for their group of friends, I'm the anomaly. So I let my friends know, I know I'm your weird friend. So, we don't have to go to places together. I'm okay with being excluded. It's okay. And it's also because I don't want to be in the presence of people who feel uncomfortable with me. That's not nice. I don't have to. Here, I don't lose any worth because this is the part of it's a feeling. So once you've reclaimed your wholeness, I never lost my wholeness. Once you've reclaimed your wholeness, you have your divine feminine and your divine masculine. That's your mind and your body, and that's somatics. So your mammalian heritage. This is what we get to do over here. And the divine feminine doesn't lose anybody of their oversoul. When we have love dependent people, those are the ones that we actually have the most. I'm going to do an episode eventually. Yeah, that's because they become squirrels from Cusco land. And I'm still learning how to become a mature divine feminine with it because I got taught how to be a person to share the floor, and sharing the floor is because some people are not in the capacity to open their window of love. However, those same people, like Stephen Porges points out, they don't in any way, shape, or form take ownership of any of their behavior. None of it. So it's actually a lovely challenge. It's an opportunity to grow and to continue becoming more of what you stand for. So in my case, I stand with meaning, connection beyond the solo self. As a somatic empath, I understand that a person's dysfunctional, dysregulated nervous system is not their fault. And I know that I can use my words because I got taught how to, and that I get to put into practice my ventral vagal nervous system every time I get a love dependent person who begins to do something that is in their biological rudeness. And that's how we create patchas for the world, 5D relationships. We don't have the I'm growing more tolerance. People who need Patrick Tian, he's a childhood trauma survivor, healed. I always say healing therapist. He helps people to do that. I know forgiveness already. I knew it with Jesus as a teenager. I know it now, and I've always known it. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. The past already happened. I don't need to forgive you. You don't need to apologize. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not your mother. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do any of this stuff of where I come to. That's martyrs and superiors that do shit like that. People who want to baby each other. I don't got no baby. I got a person. You're my age. Or even if you're a little bit younger, I ain't going to baby you. It's disrespectful. Don't baby me. In fact, when people want to try and tell me what to do, I've learned how to shut up just because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to actually engage in anything because you're literally in my space and I don't need to correct you. Because also, by the way, what I get to learn is everything about you because you've painted me a full picture. Every word you use, I will know it means something to you, not me necessarily. You will know, on the other hand, what? Well, you'll know your subjective experience, that's for sure, and I'll know it too. So this is the part of where people get to know people only if they're intimate. That means they want to hear your thoughts and feelings. And I know when people want to hear my thoughts and feelings because I will feel it here. And it's the most amazing thing. So again, divine feminines, our oversoul, it surprises us. And I will say my soulmates have surprised me a lot more. The twin flames, they give you a lot of things that you can look at and explore and expand. But the soulmates are the ones who surprise you. And it actually makes sense when you look at what soulmates are versus what a twin flame is. And twin flames in my case. And we'll talk about that in the audio version. I'm going to close us out here and we'll have some other episode on empowered women. If you have questions, again, for now we only have the Ask Maria available on the audio podcast Spotify for podcasters, Amazon Music, you name it, Apple Podcasts, iHeart. There's 11. It got taken out of, I think, Stitcher. It used to be on Stitcher too, but for some reason, maybe Stitcher's not around anymore. But that's a side note. Subscribe to YouTube if you'd like. And that way, once we get to 1K, we'll have the Ask Maria for the first membership option. And as we gain a 5D collective of mystics, we will decide what membership opportunity for that, because definitely I know that those of you with clairs are going to be a lot more happy over here than with the spiritual bypassers, because they're not living the divine feminines anything. They're completely not. It's very unfortunate. I did not think that they would stick to what I saw, but it makes sense when I know about them not wanting to claim their inner child by not going to get good therapy, because the reality is this is where it's at. They will justify their maladaptive child behavior, they will justify their stories, and they will find those herd members like the flat earthers where they are going to bond together, and they have a Peter Pan with a Wendy, and we got it all over the place. So we get to create our 5D plane with the good educators, and then to create relationships so that we can be safe havens, secure bases. This allows other people to reclaim their inner child, the heaven in the body, the mammalian heritage. Okay, so that's again Christ consciousness. There's a reason I love Jesus, even though I'm sad that some people, won't welcome us, but it's okay. We'll welcome them, and we can respect. So again, tune in for more. Have a great one.